you got to sift through all the garbage, sift through all the noise to determine the intent of what really is going on. Not what is being told to me that is going on, but what really is going on.
And then I got to move forward and say, how can I serve God today? How can I serve his purpose? How can I be selfless and make a difference in other people's lives so they can thrive?
Attack Life, Not Others with Tim Hoover and Steve Mittman.
It's always been like this, but more than ever now, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you, right?
Right.
And I mean, that's a basic principle behind self-defense, which I don't even really like that whole term right there in and of itself. Self-defense, the only true defense is to go on offense quicker, sooner, faster, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're always reactive rather than proactive. But we call it self-defense, basically preservation of life, right? Preserving your life and your loved ones' lives in the threat of danger. That no one's coming to save you. But again, that applies to anything. I don't care if you're talking, finances, career, relationships, is anybody going to come pay your oil bill for you or pay for the gasoline in your car for you or for the food on your table type of thing? I mean, yes, there are. There are good people out there, networks and resources for those in need. But for the most part, no one's coming to save you. You want something in this life, you've got to be the one to take the bull by its horns, go out and get it.
Right.
Make it happen. Make it happen. And I'm thinking of the three simple words: as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical. In this day and age, you got to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, make it happen.
Right.
You've got to understand the rules of the playing field in order to engage. And sometimes rules need to be broken, if that makes sense, as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical.
Right.
You've got to do what it takes to make it happen.
Sure, you do. For yourself, for your family. And, as you said, there is not a lot of people out there. And I think that's part of our problem in this world today, is that we are becoming a more closed community between emails and between texting and not communicating the way we used to. We're not crowding in a room together and figuring out problems. We're figuring out problems for the distance now. And a lot of the oral communication and watching basically physical movement and all that stuff that you learned as a kid is now being replaced by a computer, right?
Well, isn't that ironic, though? Think about that. We've got AI, we've got computers, so we have more information at our fingertips than ever before in society.
Look at the information we've had, and we're just worse. So
Right.
I don't know what that tells you, but it doesn't tell you anything other than that we're going in the wrong direction. So you've got, I think what you're talking about is an act of survival here. Right?
It is an act. What you just said, act, because all the information in the world, the saying goes, all the information in the world without action is just entertainment. So you must act upon it. Yeah, we've got the information, but you have to make it happen.
Sure you
Take
do.
action.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to find the group of people or individual who they do exist, by the way, who go beyond their own survival to help others survive. They're out there. I know they are. I see them too, and it brings me back to the opposite position on that. One of my favorite movies. It's ironic you brought it up because I was thinking about it the other day. Top 3 movies, one of them would be Pay It Forward. And years ago, during the Breakathon years, when Eddie passed away and so on, we used to have the Pay It Forward bands that we used to wear. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was the whole objective was about doing a good for somebody, that it would eventually come back through karma and also come up your back one day when you don't expect it, when you feel like, oh my God, I need something. There it is, almost like an angel on your lap, right? And it's all about this kid in grade school. I think he was in 5th or 6th grade, and the teacher says, how can we fix the world? And he says, I have an idea. And he went up on the blackboard and broke it down through math. If everybody does it so many times and helps somebody over a period of time, like a pyramid, it will change the world, almost like a Genesis act. Like it'll just come across the world, the planet, and change it and turn it into a perfect world. And that was this little boy's concept. It's an awesome movie. And that's what kind of inspired us to do this Pay It Forward thing. But yet what you're saying, I get. You get up every morning, you got to think about yourself and your family and your needs, and you got to survive. And if it's like you said, if it's not unethical, you do it. You got to make the rules, right? Because nobody's going to save your butt, right?
Well, that's where it gets twisted. People step on each other. They'll take others down so that they can climb to the top or they can survive. And that's where it gets ugly. That's where it goes wrong. as long as it's not illegal, immoral, unethical, then I say do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah, but to that point, we've been. I always talk about what we learned in 2025 and how we're going to apply it in 2026. Likewise, what we learned in 2024 and how we're going to apply it in 2025. So now we're into 2026. So there's usually 2 or 3 things, and I'm talking martial arts here. There's usually 2 or 3 things, concepts, ideas, and we talk about this word intent. So the minute that you're in the street, you're walking around, you can't just wait for that punch in your face. You've got to look around, be aware, and it starts with awareness, and then try to figure out somebody's intent. Now, it doesn't just mean from a self-defense act. It also means from point of conversation in the workplace. You have to be present and really try to understand that person's intent. From that person's intent, then you can make your decision on what you need to do.
Well, that's the OODA loop in law enforcement, military: observe, orient, decide, act.
Correct.
That's your intent, and that's what gives you that information. And again, there's what I call archetypes. There are different archetypal personalities out there, right? And the quicker, sooner, faster you learn the intent and the personality behind that person, what makes them tick, then you can kind of engage with them in a higher level, right? Where's this going? What is this for? What's their agenda? Are they the ninja? Are they the samurai? Like what is their intent behind this?
Right.
Is this a good relationship I want to enter into? Is this something I want to maybe take a step back from? That's a skill. That is a skill in and of itself. And you're blessed because, you got the yin yang. You've got the martial arts world where you build the body up, and you've got the PI world, the private investigative world, where you've seen ugly things, and it's just the horrors and the dangers of society. And my point is, you got to sift through all the garbage, sift through all the noise to determine the intent of what really is going on, not what is being told to me that is going on, but what really is going on.
Yeah. And just, can I say this too? It's easy to, based on what we're talking about, if you just take a mindset that you're just going to care for yourself and family, to become selfish, right? And then it's easy to, if you're selfless, to just be gullible and walk into that wall where somebody's taking advantage of you and not be aware.
Yep.
You got to throttle in the middle.
Yep.
You got to know when to take what's yours, what you've earned, and also know when to give back to others. And I find myself in that middle all the time. I got to protect myself. I've got to look at people's intent, objective, ideas. Where's this whole thing going? In the political landscape and everything that we do, from running a business. And then I got to be careful that I don't get selfish and paranoid, right? And then I got to move forward and say, how can I serve God today? How can I serve His purpose? How can I be selfless and make a difference in other people's lives so they can thrive? One of the greatest phrases I ever heard was, don't just live, thrive. So you have to thrive on both ends. And the only way you can thrive is if you breathe and stay alive and be present to be able to make a difference in other people's lives. So it's a great topic that you brought that up, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Attack Life, Not Others. For more on our way of life through the martial arts, go to attacklifenotothers.com.
This has been a Whitman Media creation. WhitmanMedia.com.